Morning, everyone. Wednesday, February 15th. A little bit of a late start today. It's 11:04 a.m. Eastern Time. I was on another call. Had to wrap it up and jump right into this. Hence the lateness, but we're doing it. We always do it. So, as you know, well, you may not know this. That's why I'm saying it. You can watch us on Instagram, and that's where people tend to first go. But it's better on YouTube, and that's youtube.com/no-meat-athlete. You click the tab that says live. I think we're going to remake that page soon enough to make it a plant-based morning show page. Seems like a good move to do. And put some other stuff, other content there so that when you get there, you're welcomed with the good stuff. But we'll see. That's in the works. We're slow moving on that. Doug, how's it going today?
Hey, it is going so good.
Wow. Okay. You're healthy still. That's good. You're still living.
I am still healthy. I'm living. There has been. I've cleaned up no projectiles in the last probably 30 hours, 36 hours maybe. So our family is on the up and up, and we are. I am just. I'm feeling good. Feeling good.
Yeah. 30 hours is a solid streak you got going there.
I know.
No vomit cleanup. I like it. Well, good for you. Glad for everybody. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think we're going to go to Atlanta, which is great. Somehow this miracle is happening. We're going to make it. So
good. All right. So the whole family's going to go there.
That's the plan as of right now. We're on the up to a point where I think we're going to be able to pull it off.
And when are you supposed to leave for this trip?
Tomorrow after work.
Tomorrow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Good. Well, good for you. Good for the Hay clan. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you, Matt? How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Nothing too new. I had a nice little Valentine's Day. We made time for it wasn't much, but we made time for a glass of wine at the end of the night once we both were home from our separate soccer practices. So it was just nice. It was a good time. Nothing too special else otherwise. But I think people are wondering, Doug, what was the tickets gift or this event thing or whatever? People were speculating as large a name as Taylor Swift. I saw in the comments yesterday. So I think we're dying to what that was, if it was revealed or what
it was revealed. Michael Franti tickets. I don't know if you know Michael Franti. It's one of Katie's longtime favorite artists.
Okay.
And good uplifting, fun dance music. So
Michael Franti, American rapper, it says. Is that right?
Yeah, rapper and singer. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But so it's not actually for a couple months. So it's not on Valentine's Day, which I know you're not a fan of. But we spent our Valentine's Day washing every single blanket and towel and in anything in the house that could possibly go into the washing machine. Yesterday, in a effort to kind of purify the house a little bit. So it was just nice to be able to like talk to her and hang out. So that was our big Valentine's Day event.
Yeah.
But she was stoked about the tickets. So that's good.
I like it. Do you think so? Erin, my wife, always purifies the house once we're done being sick. Everything gets cleaned, bathrooms get scrubbed, the sheets and blankets all get turned over or whatever, washed, which I'm very appreciative of because usually I don't have to get involved in it. Now and then I'll chip in if she asks me to, but not always. So I always wonder if it's necessary though. If everyone's been sick, we're not going to get sick again.
Yeah.
And I guess you haven't. You're still, so for your sake that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think it's partially you're supposed to. I understand you're actually supposed to replace your toothbrush too after you've been sick. That's a habit that you're supposed to get
why?
into.
What's the rationale? Like you're going to get sick again eventually from that bacteria, or does it attract other bacteria?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know, but that a dentist recently told us that. So, but the
did he have?
part of it's emotional. Part of it's emotional, though, right? I mean, if you've been in bed sick or kind of lounging around with a bunch of blankets sick, having everything kind of fresh and clean just feels like a reset, a little bit of a refresh mentally and emotionally for me. But I mean, the other part of it,
ward off spirits.
I mean, exactly. We burn a lot of sage in our house, so we didn't do that yesterday. But definitely. But I mean, the other part of it is this wasn't like a cold or like something where you just feel bad, a cough or something like that. Like this was a pretty gross.
Right.
Couple days in our house. So like actually cleaning everything was probably the right move.
Good. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that probably is the right move. I like it. I just wondered about that.
Meanwhile, Matt over here is like magically every time we get sick, the sheets are
no. In this case, I do know what's going on, and I appreciate it very much. And like I said, I'm happy to help out if Erin asks me to. She just doesn't always. She often just handles things like that, and that's wonderful. I love that about her. All right, so people are saying good morning. Steven's doing good morning Vietnam, a little Robin Williams bit, I guess. Neil L, good morning. Sarah Slemp.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, Good Morning Vietnam, classic. It was like what put Robin Williams on the map back in 82 or something.
Isn't it from? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm mixing up.
I don't know what you were going to say. What were you going to say, Doug? What did you think it was from?
What was what is that Vietnam movie that's like a classic, but it's really.
Let's see how long we can be silent while you.
Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now is what I was thinking. I thought it was from that.
Oh, okay, I've heard of that movie. I don't know anything about that.
It's a classic movie that you should watch, but it's not easy to watch. It's very hard to watch.
Okay, probably won't watch it then.
Yeah,
I'll probably watch Office reruns instead because that's
maybe a good choice.
All right, Mr. Jeffrey says hi. Samantha Joe works. So I'm seeing some new names in here. Who are? Oh no, I guess not. So Samantha, she's here because she has a snow day in Colorado, so she can listen live. She usually does it.
Nice.
So that's cool. Maybe that's the explanation for the other names as well that are new, like James Gerback. I wonder if he's any relation to Elvis Gerback, the Ravens quarterback, who I think won a Super Bowl. Anyway, if anyone's here who's sort of new, that YouTube found the show for you and told you about it, that would be great to know. I'm always wondering.
We're still waiting for that one person.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that someone has found it from the algorithm.
James N is back. He was someone we saw for the first time, or it seems like it.
Yes.
So that's great. And I like how everybody's chiming in with Vietnam movies that like Tropic Thunder, Saving Private Ryan, Platoon.
I didn't know there were so many Vietnam. I didn't know there were any Vietnam movies, honestly, other than Good Morning Vietnam. I figured Saving Private Ryan was definitely like a World War II or World War I thing. But
I think who knows? Might be actually.
Okay, I don't know. I don't watch Tom Hanks movies over 2 hours long as a rule, so I wouldn't know anything about Saving Private Ryan, or The Green Mile, or Forrest Gump, or every other one. James Gerback is a distant cousin of Elvis Gerback, unless he's kidding when he says that. But that's cool. Okay, so people are also. Steven seems to know this Michael Franti character of yours, so that is cool. And yeah, maybe I'll play a little tune from him. Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that while we're getting into this show. No, I'm not, because it's gonna be an ad first. All right, go ahead, Doug.
We got the question of the day. Should I introduce that?
Yeah, introduce it. It relates to one of our articles, as they usually do. And I like this one. So go ahead and put it out there for us.
Yeah, so we are going to be talking about some bad habits that maybe aren't so bad after all. So I'm curious if there's a bad habit of yours that you just refuse to give up. And I'm putting bad in quotations here because it may not actually be that bad, or you're deciding that it's bad enough to where you don't want to worry about it.
Right. And if you're still doing it, it must be serving you in some way.
Right.
So there is no truly bad habit. No such thing as a bad habit.
Is there a bad habit that comes to mind for you? A quote unquote bad habit for you?
The first one that comes to mind to me is drinking wine. But I just said, Erin and I sat down and had a nice glass of wine last night. It was perfect. It was wonderful. And I don't think we could have recreated that with a glass of water or tea. It's just not the same. I don't know. I really like that. You get a little bit of social lubrication, which maybe you shouldn't need with your spouse or significant other. But I don't know. It just aids in putting you into a relaxed state when like there's not a lot of time to get into a relaxed state. We just had all these crazy hectic soccer practices. She's got to get in bed early to get up early, and it just I don't know. It was nice. So I have no plans to ever stop that. Although I'd like to reduce it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Alcohol was the first thing that came to mind for me, but I don't want to say that I will never give it up because there might be a time when I would want to give up alcohol. But that was the first thing. So then my second thing was corn chips. I'll never give up corn chips. That I can definitively say is a habit that I will never depart.
Wow. Never. So if I said you can only have alcohol or corn chips for the rest of your life, one of them, you'd take corn chips based on that. It sounds like.
Maybe. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. All right. So here's the funny thing. In anticipation of me getting sick, thinking that I would almost certainly get sick because everyone in the house was sick, I was very careful about what foods I was choosing to eat because I was afraid that if I ate, a food that I very much enjoyed and then got sick right afterwards, that it would ruin that food for me. You know how that happens?
Yep, definitely.
So I was intentionally cutting back on some of my favorite foods, or my go-tos because I was afraid, of what could happen.
But that might be wise if you thought corn chips weren't that healthy of a choice, and you could.
Yeah, but I don't. That's what I'm saying. They serve me enough. They bring me enough joy, pleasure. But I don't want to give them up.
That makes sense. All right. Well, people are chiming in here. James N says daily Cliff Bar for breakfast with his coffee. So I don't know if he means both of that is the thing to not give up. But by the way, a lot of foreshadowing here. We have a coffee bit coming up in the news. We have a corn chip story. There's also a mushroom story and an Atlanta wing joint story, Doug. These are all things that relate to you. It's like the show was made for you today.
All right.
So I'm excited about that. So anyway, so James says that, I think the Cliff Bar we've said is Cliff Bars are kind of junk food, but I can understand how, it might just be a nice treat in the morning if that's what you like. And I can understand that. Steven says, like to smoke weed from time to time. I know smoking isn't good for you, but it helps my anxiety and try to use it responsibly. Yeah. I mean, to me, that sounds like the alcohol thing that I feel that like, it just, I know that it's probably not great, but it's associated with some good things and hard and enjoyable enough that hard to really be that motivated to want to give it up. Anne Marie had a home baked dessert last night instead of alcohol. Look at that. Very nice. I don't know if that's something she's talking about not giving up or just saying it.
Maybe in response to your alcohol, and that you couldn't have recreated it.
Trying to shame me. Trying to say
maybe.
Yeah, but I don't like home baked dessert. That's the thing. I guess I do, but I don't really like dessert very much. So that wouldn't do it for me. James then says Cliff Bars aren't healthy, so he knows that. Coffee's fine with. Yep, true. Agreed. And Jill says, my morning coffee, 1 to 2 cups. Tried hard to give it up, but it's hard to start to my day without it. Coffee, even more, much more than alcohol to me, is very, very much might be a healthy beverage on the balance. It might be better for you than not. And I actually tend to think that it probably is, as long as it's not excessive amounts, but you can go either way. So I wouldn't, that one is, it's like these other bad habits that we'll get to today, where like they used to be thought of as bad. And now people are saying there's really a lot of benefits to many of them.
Right. Shout out to some people on Instagram, Summer Days.
Instagram. We're over Instagram. Get over to YouTube. That's where the action is.
YouTube is where the action is. You're right. But Summer Days is coming to us from London. Shout out to him. And Anna Banana maybe is new. And so welcome to your first show here on Instagram. If you want to get in on the real action, head over to YouTube. Mr. Jeffrey says, I love snacks. And I don't think I'll ever give up snacking. My kind of guy.
Yeah, that's why he's a Doug apologist, I think, because he has a few connections with you. And he seems to always side with you because of that.
Well,
and snacking might be the one that it all depends on.
Or I'm just a more likable guy. That could be too.
Could be that. The sound for you talking there, Doug, just got terrible. I'm listening on Instagram, though. Oh. That's where my phone is plugged in. So I don't really know. They probably had problems hearing you, but I don't know. No one is saying that on YouTube, so I don't really know. But
okay,
it sounds good now. So I think we'll just proceed. Could have been on my end. Who knows? All right. So that seems to be all the responses people are going to give us, but that's fine. If you want to give us more, if you want to chime in about your bad habits, please do. Please keep that coming. because that's one of the main things we're going to get to later. All right, so I pulled out this vegan wang story. We've been talking about vegan wangs. I think I mentioned it yesterday, even for you to hit on your Atlanta trip, and now Veg News has an article on them. Very fishy again, how this keeps happening. But what are you gonna do? The article. This is still introduction. This is pre-weather report, so this is just small talk. But anyway, they put this thing up about vegan wangs. It's I guess they're positioning it as KFC missed the boat. They missed their opportunity because they did this trial thing with Beyond Meat. Made some pretty good vegan chicken, as I recall, which I got once or twice. But now Vegan Wangs has stepped in Atlanta anyway to make the first plant-based chicken wing, first Black-owned plant-based chicken wing restaurant. I'm not sure if it's the first plant-based chicken wing restaurant or not. But anyway,
first
it's
Black-owned chicken wing restaurant or vegan chicken wing restaurant?
Plant-based, Black-owned plant-based chicken wing restaurant. Sorry, I don't know if it's the first plant-based chicken wing restaurant, but I think there's one other one that I saw in Atlanta, and I don't know which was first. Who knows? Anyway, I think Doug, you need. Are you gonna do any of this on your Atlanta thing? There's a bunch more stuff too mentioned. Of course, Slutty Vegan. You can take the whole family there, get them all some slut sauce and what are the other foods there? I forget. Who cares? Maybe more though.
Yeah, we might. It depends on what we end up doing on Saturday. The problem with Atlanta is that it's huge and very spread out. So where my sister lives is not near Slutty Vegan or Vegan Wangs. We were looking it up the other day. But if we go downtown, we're talking about doing some different activities. If we go downtown, I think we're gonna check at least one of them out.
Are they downtown? When I've been downtown Atlanta, it's terrible. But if you go to like the outskirty neighborhood kind of things, that's where you find good stuff.
I think by downtown we would be more centrally located to get to these than. I mean, so like Slutty like 15 miles away or something, but it was going to take an hour to get there, and is it really worth us going an hour for some slut sauce? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Be a good opportunity to introduce the children, I think. Good. All right. Well, hopefully you can get to one of those. It'd be nice.
I'm glad Vegan Wangs.
It's a southern way of saying wings, though. It's just accent.
Yeah, but it's called Vegan Wangs, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad it's getting some coverage here.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of coverage. I don't know where I came across it before this, but yeah, they are getting some action. Okay, so that's that. Are we ready to jump into the weather report? I love that false start we had yesterday in the weather report. I was laughing really hard about that on the recording, and then I even played it for Holden later to say, look how funny this was. It was pretty funny.
Oh man.
All right. So let's go ahead and get in here. Just some quick stuff today.
Over to you, Matt.
All right.
The weather report.
IKEA, everyone's favorite day trip furniture store, has published its annual sustainability report. And in that report, they've decided they're going to offer more plant-based foods. They've already done a little bit with veggie meatballs and things like that, which you can get now, or veggie hot dogs you can get in the IKEA that I go to anyway, the one in Charlotte. But let's see. The veggie ball sales now account for 17% of frozen meatball sales, up 14% in 2021. That's a pretty big number. And that's one that we probably can believe. It's not survey data. It's their sales numbers. So that's kind of cool. Sales of vegan hot dogs almost doubled compared to the 2019 figures. This is IKEA Germany. But just lots of good stuff. They're planning to make 50% of canteen food, which I think is their little, food eatery thing that you do while you're there, and 80% of retail food, which is what you buy to take home. I think they're going to make that plant-based by 2025. So 80%, that's a pretty huge number.
Yeah.
So way to go, IKEA. I like that. Doug, you ever do a nice little Charlotte IKEA trip with your family?
We have some IKEA furniture for sure. It's been many years since I've been there. We've kind of tried to, I don't want to say grow up, but we tried to buy some nicer furniture.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sweden's finest is not, it's good to post-college furniture. It is still good for filling in a little piece here and there when you need something. But man, a trip there with the kids, the trips there, they just take so long and the kids just melt down. It just always terrible. We did one from Asheville once. We drove all the way to Charlotte, full day IKEA, and then drove home. and that was
Oh,
a
man.
day that will live in infamy.
Yeah. Well,
There's a new study in Nutrients Journal where this studies evaluated health data from 780 men, 783 women, and this is about coffee. They were looking at a population in Italy, a small town in northern Italy called Brigsigella, and they what they found there was that coffee actually lowers blood pressure, which is shocking. Doesn't seem at all like what one would expect. But what they found was that those who drank 2 cups of coffee per day or more, or more than 3 cups, had significantly lower systolic blood pressure than non-coffee drinkers. And let's see, they noted that the coffee drinking did not affect arterial stiffness. So it didn't actually make your arteries more elastic, which I think also maybe tends to be associated with higher blood pressure, is that you get this more arterial stiffness. So the coffee didn't help with that, but it did lower the blood pressure. And that's kind of interesting because I just sort of assumed the exact opposite was true. And then I promised some mushroom news. Veg News tells us that there's a new study in the Journal of Neurochemistry showing that the active compound in lion's mane mushrooms could boost nerve growth and enhance memory. Yeah, I mean, they discovered new compounds and things in these mushrooms, and they've somehow said that it helps promote neuron projections, extending and connecting to other neurons. So and the co-author said this discovery has applications that could treat and protect against neurodegenerative cognitive disorders such as Alzheimer's. So Year of the Mushroom seems to be in full effect. Back to you,
Matt. Speaking of mushrooms and the Year of the Mushroom, I got a text from someone who was at a health conference, a nutrition conference, the other day, and they were at a presentation, and they sent me a picture of the slide that says, "What's the biggest things happening in nutrition this right now?" And one of them was mushrooms going into everything. And
wow!
So there you go.
Yeah,
more evidence that I'm right.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's good. That definitely is a health trend. I'll buy that. People are definitely putting mushrooms into everything. We've seen that happen. I guess you got to wonder, will consumers embrace that in a big way? But yeah, probably. So let's hope it continues. I don't hear you talking about mushrooms much this year, Doug, though. I don't feel like it's really.
I'm telling you, man, I'm like slipping it in gentle ways.
Right, because Katie doesn't like mushrooms.
Yeah, if I was
maybe mushrooms are
coming in hot on mushrooms all the time, then I feel like it would be it would get old. Just like my dancing, you would tell me to stop talking about mushrooms, but here we are every week talking about mushrooms in some way or another.
Yeah, well, mushrooms. I think one of the purported benefits is immunity food, right? Medicine. So you could pitch that. Maybe that's why you were able to avoid this rotavirus or in your house.
Maybe
because of your mushroom consumption.
Maybe
try that. See what happens.
Definitely. Also, before we move on, I'm starting to think coffee is maybe a super drink, because we learned the other day that it doesn't dehydrate you as thought.
Right.
So it's hydrating you and helping your blood pressure.
Yeah, and it does a lot more than that too. There are a lot of good things. I think heart health potentially. Anyway, it's packed with antioxidants, so that's probably the mechanism by which a lot of this happens. But yeah, I mean, it's the problem is a lot of these research studies that show benefits of coffee are like the 4 to 6 cup of coffee per day group is who's benefiting. And we just saw in this one, it had to take at least 2, but it's also true of the 3 cups per day group. So to drink that much coffee, you start to have other effects. But I mean, I guess it all nets out. And like, even if that impacts your sleep a little bit, the net effect is still the prevention of these certain things. So I don't know. It seems like a lot of coffee you need to drink to get major benefits. But for me, the take home message is don't be worried about your 1 to 2 cups per day. It just, there's absolutely no reason. And like I said, probably a healthy food.
Mr. Jeffrey is mentioning here that there are links to reducing and in some cases reversing Alzheimer's from a cup of coffee per day.
Yeah, right. And I think it's actually with Alzheimer's where the 4+ cups groups do the best. So yeah, but that's important. I mean, it's a big thing. He also says it's a protein powder made locally that has lion's mane and chaga for focus and cognitive health. think I've seen that protein powder before, right? Doesn't Four Sigmatic make a mushroom blend protein powder?
They do, yep.
Yeah, along with mushroom blend coffee and everything else. All right. Stephen points out vegan hot dogs are just 50 cents and pretty good. Yes, the vegan hot dogs from IKEA are very cheap and they are pretty good. And they're like veggie burgers that are hot dogs. Like they're like you can see the vegetables in them. So they're not like these highly processed ones.
Interesting.
All right. And I'm just catching up on comments here. Aaron says there are multiple Slutty vegan locations in Atlanta. Doug, remember there's a drive-through location? Did you look at all of them?
I did. The closest one was like 15 miles away, and that's
okay.
Yep.
All right. Good. Okay. Well, then that's the weather report. Let's get into our main topic for the day. I have probably get to 2 things today, maybe 3. We'll see. We'll see how we do. One, I couldn't bypass the snacks thing, even though we have an article to talk about from yesterday and another good one from the source of yesterday's good article. But first, I could not bypass this. Are Takis vegan? Asks Veg News, clearly going for a search engine optimization result here to catch the people who are looking for that. That says we've got the lowdown plus other spicy snack suggestions. So you know what, Doug? I really like Takis a lot. That's one of my favorite ways to eat a corn chip or a snack, but I really just don't try to eat many of them at all because I just think they must be terrible for me because they're so flavorful. Anything that flavorful must be looked at with,
skepticism.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Because it's extremely flavorful. They also will, you know how I've said that like with apple, especially like really tart apples where they're kind of a combination of tart and sweet, they will make my teeth really hurt for the whole rest of the day. The Takis do that. And I think it has to do with whatever the sourness is. I don't know if it's citric acid that they're getting it from. I think it probably is that. But there's so much in there that it gets my teeth hurting. And that it's just a tip off to me. It doesn't, I guess I can't really use that as the weather vane because apples are pretty healthy. But anything that does that to me makes me wonder. So they do. But I really like them. It turns out not all flavors are vegan, of course. We could have all guessed that. But many of them are. The original Fuego flavor, which is maybe the only one I've tried. No, I tried the Blue Heat, and that was weird. I didn't really like eating a blue thing like that. But anyway, so those are vegan. But the main part of this article, it goes on. They talk about some alternative corn chips that are vegan. And I thought, Doug, you might enjoy going through this list. Number 1, Trader Joe's rolled corn tortilla chips. These are Trader Joe's Takis. If anyone has never tried Takis and won't, but you will try Trader Joe's food, go get rolled corn tortilla chips. They're the same thing. They have the same impact on my teeth. And they're pretty good. And they're probably a little healthy. What are you? You're not commenting. Are you not a Takis? Not on this?
I'm commenting. I'm not commenting because I'm a little embarrassed to say, as a true corn chip enthusiast, I've never had a Taki before.
Oh, you need to do that. Next time you go to Ingles, grab yourself a bag of Takis. I think it's the purple bag is like the original flavor.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at that bag screams not healthy to me.
Right. Definitely is that. They're very spicy. They're surprisingly spicy for like a mainstream snack. Another fun fact: I got some in Spain. This was 2019, probably. We got some Takis. And the ingredient list is drastically better than the American ingredient list. The American ingredient list has plenty of these artificial colors and things, yellow 40 and red, whatever. The European one had none of those. Because that stuff I think is illegal in foods there. So European Takis are healthier. So Steven, you're in luck. All right, Doritos is number 2. I was just talking to my daughter about this. She was asking me about Doritos because we don't eat corn chips very much, but we had them on Super Bowl. She had some. She was telling me how good she thought these corn chips were. It was Nature's Promise brand, which is the store brand at Food Lion and Giant and others. But anyway, I said, and she was saying, how are Doritos? What are they like? She said, these chips taste like I imagined Doritos would. And I said, well, not really, because these are just regular corn chips. But there are some Doritos, I said, that are vegan. And here we go. It's Doritos spicy sweet chili flavor. I've never had them, but I'd really like to try those. Doug, are you on that?
I would try these.
You haven't. So I haven't. You don't really try different corn chips. You just have one standard corn chip.
I like a plain corn chip.
Uh-huh.
I like to choose my dipping, my sauce and my flavors based on what I dip them into. I think. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just never been like super attracted to the like the chips that have just all the powder and stuff on them.
It's funny, we're like kind of opposites here because in most things I prefer less flavors, the simple flavor, enjoy the basic thing, and you just want to load it up with toppings so that you can't really taste anything other than, a big mess of flavors. But when it comes to corn chips, I've always thought that like the humble corn chip is just too humble for me. It's not interesting. It's not really good. It's not as good as like a potato chip, and has to go in something or have something on it. I just wouldn't be interested in a corn chip by itself. So these other things like Doritos, which I used to love when I was a kid, like a lot of kids, I think, but I haven't eaten in many, many years now since I didn't know they had this vegan one or hadn't come across a chance to try the vegan one anyway. And Taki, I don't know. I guess I like my corn chips to be dressed up.
Okay. All right.
So a little role reversal.
Very interesting. Yeah, a little reversal here.
All right. A few more. Tia Lupita Cactus Hot Sauce Tortilla Chips. That sounds pretty good, but I'm guessing you're not going to like that one.
No, the little salsa verde on there, I don't know. For whatever reason, this looks way more attractive to me. I'm sure it's the branding. I mean, there's nothing else that it could be aside from the branding.
Well, salsa verde is pretty good too. People,
oh yeah,
that's attractive in itself. All right, and then they've got the big bag. I guess it's pronounced Xochitl, or Xochitl, I don't know, according to this little pronunciation guide they put on the package. It's Xochitl. Sounds like some sort of Mayan or Aztec Mexican word. And they're called picositos con limón, which I guess means little bites with lemon. So yeah, this is the type
spicy.
Well, spicy chips. Means, I don't think so. Picante is spicy. Pico is like a beak, like the beak of the pico de gallo is the beak of the rooster. And when a bee stings, that's a pico. That's a bite.
Okay.
So, but you could probably picante probably means biting, right? It probably is all same word here. But I don't believe these are spicy. I think these are just plain old white. But no, it says hot and spicy.
No, it says hot and spicy right there.
Yeah, it does. So unknown. We don't know the answer to that. We need a native speaker to come on here and tell us what it is instead of us guessing at it.
I'm guessing. I'm just gonna look right below where it says picositos con limón. It says spicy chips with lime.
Where are you seeing that on the package itself?
Oh yeah, at the top there. Yeah.
Let's get to the bottom of this with a little Google search.
A little Chat GPT search.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Just here we go. This is Matt pitted against Doug. This is as good as entertainment gets here. I can't seem to find the word here. Diminutive of picoso, which means spicy. There you go. Doug, you got it. You win.
I win.
Very nice. Very good Spanish.
I am the champion.
I should have never doubted a man who lived in several Spanish-speaking countries for a couple of years.
Speaking of ChatGPT, side note, today I was playing around on there and I said, "Who is Doug Hay vegan?" to see if the morning show came up or anything like that. And it came in with some Rucker Runner stuff, some Ultra Runner stuff. And then it said, and he completed the Western States 100 in 2016.
Mine does that too for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. So I'm like, really why does it think, like, how on earth does it think I ran the Western States 100? Unless it saw that I ran a 100-miler and it just assumes that there's only one 100-miler.
Yeah, I kind of wondered the exact same thing with mine. It's really funny. I don't know. And then the fifth one on here is Pop Chips, Pop Chips are pretty good, but it's not what I'm looking for here. I thought this was all corn chips. So anyway, that's your corn chip article from Veg News. Let's move on to this next one. All right, I said we talk about food pairings. So let's do that. We won't be long on that one. Maybe we can get to one more here. So this is CNBC.com. The article is 4 essential food pairings for optimal nutrient absorption from a vegan dietitian. This was published January 19th, but I only came across it yesterday. Who knows why? But they're gearing this article towards plant-based eaters specifically, which I think is a nice touch. And they give us these 4 pairings. I knew most of these, but not all. Number 1 is the classic that I think a lot of people know: pair iron with vitamin C. This is where you would put I think tomatoes with leafy greens might be a good example. Put tomatoes in your salad. Do they mention? Oh, they say eat a burrito with beans, Doug. That would be right up your alley. As long as you're putting, bell peppers into that burrito, which I highly doubt that you are. But I don't really know. Are you, Doug?
Bell peppers, of
Yeah,
course.
that
Good
fits in a
old
burrito.
yeah, classic fajita. Little fajita veggies.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Onion and pepper.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, I thought that was a fajita veggie, not a burrito veggie. But what do
Yeah,
I know?
but it's all
Again,
the same.
who am I to doubt you in an area of your expertise? So yeah, that's a known one. We have a No Meat Athlete article. I think it's nomeatathlete.com/iron. Let me check that real quick. Could be wrong about that URL. It's a different article actually, but you can type that in and you'll go to Iron, a primer for the vegan female athlete, and that will link to our original. But we've got one that talks about some of these ideas, like combining to get more iron. But moving on, number 2, incorporate zinc in your diet with sulfur. So my first thought was, I don't eat any sulfur. That seems like it would be disgusting. It would be like rotten egg smell, or that black salt that mimics rotten egg smell, or I guess just mimics egg smell, period. But then, of course, I remembered, well, the article reminded me that the allium family, onions and garlic, those contain a sulfur-like compound. That's the health benefit. That's the thing that when you chop them up, makes your eyes burn or your skin burn sometimes. That is this, I guess it's a sulfur-like compound. It's not truly sulfur, but it probably does exactly the same things as you need your sulfur to do here. And that will help you absorb your zinc. Zinc, they point out, is found in grains, seeds, and legumes. I think of beans always as the big zinc source, but you've got this absorption issue. It really is the issue. We eat plenty of zinc on plant-based diets. It comes with these phytates that block its absorption. So anything you can do to boost that absorption is a good thing. So onions and garlic would be your way to do that. Now, they don't get into this, but when you cook your onions and garlic, you definitely diminish the potency of those compounds. Just like with cruciferous vegetables, if you chop them ahead of time, I don't think you need a whole 45 minutes ahead of time like you're supposed to with cruciferous, but chopping them ahead of time will somehow will help whatever reaction happen, just help it happen so that it can creates these good things in your body, these good compounds before the cooking could destroy them or could destroy the process. So chop that stuff ahead of time. And if you can cook it lightly, all the better, but that's not always easy, I know.
Are you a raw onion guy?
No, and that's my hard part. I always like eating scallions because I can eat scallions raw, as a lot of people can. And I have to imagine they are providing these same compounds, but maybe they're not. Maybe that's why that's why they're more tolerable, because they don't have as much of these sulfur-like compounds. But no, I don't like. I pretty much always eschew the raw onions on a salad or whatever. I'm just not going to eat that. I'm going to push it away. It's just not really that good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do not like raw onion. Do not like raw garlic.
Yeah, raw garlic is really a horrible flavor. Just like
when I had a roommate who would eat like a whole like raw garlic clove anytime they got sick. And oh my God, I couldn't even watch it.
And it's not, to me, it's not I mean, that would be very unpleasant to actually do for sure. But then like, I just feel like the next 6 to 8 hours, you just would have this awful taste in your mouth that you just can't get rid of. And I don't mean like bad breath for people, although that would be surely would happen. But like, it's just, I don't know, that garlic flavor, if you eat too much raw, like if I make a dressing and I put raw garlic in there and I kind of just don't let it sit long enough or whatever, maybe just put too much garlic or don't chop it fine enough, I have that awful aftertaste forever. So I don't like that. I do sometimes try pickling onions, or like the quick pickle we do. And I always wonder if that preserves these healthy sulfur-like compounds. But I just don't know enough to know if it does or not. I wonder if maybe vinegar would also destroy it. I assume that anything makes them more tolerable to taste probably is making them less healthy in this way.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway,
Sarah Slimp says they eat raw onion when congested.
Oh, okay.
I imagine that'll clear you up.
Yeah, sure. But comforting to know that these are the foods that help with beans, because pretty much whenever I cook beans, not every time, but a lot, it starts with onions and garlic in the pan. So that is nice. All right, on to number 3 here. Eat your antioxidants with fats and fat-soluble vitamins. No big secret there. I think people do realize that like something like oil on your salad, although drastically increasing the calorie count, does help transport vitamins and things like that, antioxidants in this case. So that's a good thing. They mentioned the tomatoes in lycopene cooked in oil. That's kind of a common thing and always makes me happy when I make tomato sauce because we eat a tremendous amount of tomato sauce. So, everyone knows lycopene is this compound anti-cancer thing that is actually increased when you cook tomatoes compared to many vegetables, which lose nutrition as you cook them, or fruits, I guess, in this case. But yeah, cooking in olive oil is going to be better for helping you get those nutrients. So there's a good thing for olive oil, which is hard to come by. There aren't that many people saying eat more olive oil, at least in our vegan world.
No.
And finally, have your calcium with vitamin D. Those two things help each other be absorbed, or maybe it's just that the D helps calcium be absorbed. I'm not sure if it works the other way. For some reason, I thought it did, but I'm not sure. So they say you pair these calcium-rich sources like soy milk, almond milk, or plant-based yogurts with a walk outside because the source of vitamin D from sunlight can help absorb the calcium. I know. That's what I thought. But we're laughing, but I don't really know enough to know better. Man, my skin tone is terrible on Instagram. It's like,
it really is.
When I touch the screen, it changes the focus or something, and I don't know how to fix it. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, it just seems funny. Like, it just seems like you have to wonder about the absorption rates of these things. And like you eat this calcium, and then at what point in the process is it important that vitamin D be also now available in your system? And how long does it take to get there when you take a walk? I mean, I don't know. And how much do you really pick up from a walk in the sun? Not pick up, because I think your body produces it with the sun's help. But I don't know. It just seems like maybe eating a vitamin D source, that seems like that would be a better way to make it work. But I don't know.
I drink my morning soy milk on my morning walks in the sun. But when it's cloudy, I get it really throws me off. So I don't know. That's pretty funny advice to me. But
yeah, it is. But we don't know. I mean, I have no idea. This is a vegan dietitian who's recommending this stuff. Who knows? Can't say if it's right or wrong. Just unexpected for me, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Should we hit this last one, Doug, or should we wrap it up and save it for tomorrow? Let me tease you with the headline, as if you haven't seen it. Yeah, it's bad habits. We have to do it. All right, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, okay.
All right, 5 quote unquote bad habits that are actually good for you, according to doctors. This is from Best Life Online, who, as of yesterday, I had never heard of until I found their banger of an article about, what was it about? We liked it. Oh yeah, their health hacks or their health trends that are actually worth doing, and they're the things we've been focusing on since we were 30. And this was for people over 50. They were saying these habits were good for. So anyway, now they've got this one: 5 bad habits that are actually good for you, according to doctors. Yesterday they were promoting
expert based.
There we go. Got that check. I like to see that. Makes me feel better about reading it and sharing it. I know it will meet this show's editorial standards. So. Good thing there. Yesterday they were promoting the plant-based diet, right? They told us that was one of the tips that was a good thing to do when you're over 50. Well, today let's get down really quickly to number 2. Eat red meat is the number 2 bad habit that may be good for you. And of course I will go back to number 1, but I just wanted to jump to that because I thought it was funny. But here's the thing. I actually don't disagree with what they're saying here. They say that eating red meat occasionally can also be beneficial for your health. That's from Atlanta-based orthopedic surgeon Kelly K. Middleton, which, orthopedic surgeon, maybe not the person to ask necessarily, but maybe. So she says that even though it's high in saturated fat and cholesterol, it also contains a number of vitamins and minerals that are important for overall health. These include iron, zinc, B12, and selenium, all of which are essential. Notice, Doug, those 4 things are common plant-based diet deficiencies. And so this fits very, very nicely with the story that I've kind of been promoting for a while, I think. And it's like what I kind of picked up from the Blue Zones books and my love of those, of that philosophy. When they have a big feast on, pork or beef or whatever they're going to do, this is in the Blue Zones, and not now, but 50 years ago or 70 years ago, when these people who are now living old or now are living to very old age, when they were, younger and how they lived most of their life, there were like occasional feasts where they would do twice a month, have the big, Sunday thing where they roast a pig or a goat or whatever, and they eat it all day, and they just eat a tremendous amount of this food once or twice a month. And I think my theory is that's how you could avoid a B12 deficiency without ever supplementing. And if you want to make that argument, which I don't really like, oh, plant-based diet's not natural, how can a diet be a good one if it's deficient in some stuff? Well, if you just did this once or twice a month, you wouldn't have that problem. So I'm not at all promoting doing that, and I'm certainly not going to do that. My point is, though, it fits a nice story that to me actually makes a pretty strong argument why a plant-based diet is a totally good one, but you just need to supplement it then with these things that you would be getting from your monthly meat feast if you were one of these Blue Zone people.
Yeah, that's right. Your monthly meat feast. And that's why we have Complement. That's why Complement contains all these things.
Exactly.
So we don't need that monthly meat feast.
You just need to take Complement every day.
If you were to do it, maybe Best Life is correct here, that eating red meat is the bad habit that maybe is not that bad in moderation.
Yeah, right. So I think that's a healthy lifestyle. It's not necessarily the ethical one that would fit with my viewpoint, but as far as health goes, plant-based diet with a tiny bit of fish or animal products is a healthy way to do it. So there you go. So that's that one. Their number one is skipping meals, they say. And of course, we all used to think skipping meals was bad and breakfast was so important of a meal. And we should never miss meals. But of course, intermittent fasting has come along. Super fad thing now. I shouldn't say fad because I think there's a lot to it. But that has made us really go back on this idea that you should never skip meals. However, I will say we saw some stuff a couple weeks ago, maybe a month, saying that skipping breakfast leads to higher mortality rates. And I think that was true of skipping any meal consistently. I could be wrong about that.
I think it recommended 3 meals spaced out instead of like condensed windows, super highly condensed windows.
Yeah. So Longo, the guy he has the Prolon thing, he does longevity diet. He's the one who has this. His longevity diet is plant-based with a tiny bit of meat, like 2 to 3 servings of fish a week or something, plus a lot of olive oil. He has said this as well. He's all about fasting and intermittent fasting. He likes those things as a philosophy, but he says don't skip the breakfast. So it's like, give yourself that 8 or 10 hour window to eat, but actually do eat your meals in it. Don't just cram them into 4 hours. Like don't skip breakfast and then say I'm going to eat lunch and dinner in a 4 hour window and that's all my eating. So you are supposed to eat all the meals. So that seems to be a good thing. So I guess what I'm saying is it's not that skipping meals is good. It's that intermittent fasting is good. And you got to do intermittent fasting without skipping the meals.
Yeah.
Just condense them. All right. Number 3, drinking coffee. Again, we see the coffee coming back. Used to be viewed as a vice. But nowadays they mention, let's see, although caffeinated beverage can disrupt sleep and raise blood pressure, which is false. So far, I've found falsehoods in all 3 of these things. Not that it's false, but we just earlier said that there was a study that showed that it actually lowered blood pressure. But it's packed with antioxidants, can have numerous benefits when consumed in moderation, including alertness, energy levels, and improved mood. They don't mention anything about the potential reduction in Alzheimer's risk or other things that make you lose health in old age. Number 4, eating high-fat foods. I think that's true. Nothing really too new here. I do think fats are becoming more popular. It's just not the vilified food that it was in the early 90s or whatever. It's like, it's hard though to just sort of like read the internet and like pick up health tips here and there and start doing it, because people read this and say, okay, well, I'll start eating fats now. Now I'm going to start having oil and everything and all these avocados.
Potato chips.
Right. And like, as we talked about, there's that thing in like a high fat and high carbohydrate diet is not a good one. You sort of need to pick one or the other. And that may even be true on like a per meal basis, that it's best to have either a fatty meal or a high carb meal, not both. I think you got to be careful with that one. Eating chocolate. No, that's number 5. And the last one, no big secret there, right? That's old news, right? We know chocolate used to be thought really bad, and now it's thought to be pretty good as long as you keep that sugar level down. And if you get it plant-based, you can get it without milk, and that's usually a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would say none of these were like highly surprising, but they're definitely things that we've all heard to be bad habits. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So therefore, good
Matt,
article.
so are you is Best Life your new favorite
Kind of is. I
source
think they do a
for
pretty good job of creating compelling content. I'm going to start adding that to my research list. Best Life Online.
all right. Great.
All right. Let's see. Quick audience survey of questions, really quick, of what we've missed on. Yeah, there's a bunch. In Canada, the flavor is called Sweet Chili Heat, and it's better than the American version. He's talking about this, Mr. Jeffrey, on Doritos. Stevens points out that American and European orange sodas are a very different color. It'd be nice if I saw these things while we were talking about the topic rather than later. I'm going to try to do a better job of that.
Yep.
Stephen wants to know any story behind me knowing the Spanish for bee sting. No, I don't have one. I just think it's known. It's just a thing. I just noticed they instead of stings they say bite, and that is pico. All right. Jody missed the first half of the show. Comes in to see us dissecting corn chips. Yeah, I'm glad we got to go into corn chips in some depth today, Doug. That was nice.
Me too. I wish I had been more prepared for it.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. Steven says, got to come up with a tier ranking for articles. Number 1 is banger article. Yes, I like that phrase as well. And then I think he says Matt Schrute. I said false, like Dwight does in The Office. So good. Thank you. Nice comments, everyone. Appreciate those. They make this fun. Okay, we've been too long today, but we did start late.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks for the contributions. As always, audience makes this show so much better and fun. So thank you. Keep that stuff up. Again, if you're in YouTube, as I always or often ask, please subscribe to the channel there and like the video. And there's like a little bell that when you subscribe, you can actually choose to like super subscribe, where you now get notifications when we go live. I have done that. So now my phone tells me when we go live. Whoops. And it's easy to do. It doesn't do anything wrong. It just gives you a notification when we go live. So you'll get that. So please do that. It helps us a lot with the algorithm, which one day is going to bring someone new into the show. And I'm going to find someone where all this mattered.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Doug?
That's it. That's it for me. See everybody tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone. Talk to you on Thursday.